Hello everyone, this is Trena from John's Furniture Repair, and I'm in the shop today with this really beautiful pine chair that's actually from here, northern Saskatchewan, and it's in need of some repair. Let me show you some details. Alrighty, so it's quite primitive in design, which I love, and it's actually made from trees that grow up in our northern Saskatchewan area, which is quite forested, but the trees are quite small and kind of spindly, just more of a northern type tree. So you can see here, that's like a log from a tree for a leg. Pretty cool. Anyways, you might see there's some issues here. We've got some design flaws that have caused some issues with cracking here. So if you look, you can see the two legs are put on the same plane as well as the back post. So this one grain line here took all the pressure and split, and I'm surprised this one hasn't yet. Maybe it will. Anyways, we need to get this thing apart. We're going to be needing to do some structural reinforcement. So I'm going to do some bow tie clasps here and get everything re-glued back to a nice sturdy state. I don't want to change how it's made. I just have to add some support here. So let's get it apart and get to work. Okay, so this is really loose. They do have a wedge in here, but I don't think it's doing enough. I think I can just turn these out. So I'm gonna mark these where they go. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, someone tried to fix it. So I got some plywood added there, which is probably the only reason why it's still together. Otherwise, it would be a pile of firewood. Okay, so this will name number 1. Okay, I'm going to use another big dowel to try to pop the other ones out. Looks like we've had some nailed additions, or maybe those were there first. Okay, so that was glued on there. Definitely not a good idea. This wood is super thick. It needs to move, so gluing a whole piece of rigid plywood to this may have caused the cracks in the first place, or maybe it did after. I don't know. Anyways, got a big cleanup job here. Getting all this glue and stuck pieces of plywood off of here. So obviously we've got a pretty bad break with pieces missing. This chunk flew off from somewhere in between. Anyways, I'll probably have to add wood in here before we laminate and then re-drill these holes out, just because we're looking pretty shy here of what we need. Or let me see here. Okay, so I've decided to glue this piece on here because that's a really good fit right there. That'll be a strong glue up, and it actually fits just as well on the other side. You can see there. So I'm going to try to get those two together. The only piece that's really missing here is this. So what I'll do is glue everything together, and then it might be easier to do it before or after, not really sure yet, but straighten this off and inset a piece here. We're going to be doing bow tie joints on the rest of it, where we have the room. So I'll probably do one here, two in the middle, and maybe a very small one or another dowel here, just because we're having some issues. And then same thing on this side because it's going to happen. We'll do two here, something here, something here. Leave this alone. Anyways, if these are tight, that's going to help keep everything together as well. If you've got loose joints with giant tendons running through that same grain pattern here, that's going to cause an issue. So these will be glued in really tightly, and that'll help hold things together as well. So yeah, I think I'll start working on gluing these pieces together and making a piece for there. I wanted to laminate the joint, put it through a jointer, but I think that's just going to cause more work than it's worth. Because we're adding those bow ties in and everything else, it's going to be fine. So let's glue. Okay, so we've got all the old wedges, if you can call them that, out of the legs here, and they really didn't have much of a wedge to them, which might explain why they just came out. So we're going to make some new wedges, new pine wedges. And some of you asked about my nifty difty wedge jig. This is actually my dad's jig that I stole from him. And it just has a little runner to go in the bandsaw groove and a couple of different cuts for different sizes. I could even put more in here of wedges. So I think I'll use this cut here just because we're going to go for a little bit thicker of a wedge, and that's quite a bit thicker. And you just want to make sure you have the right width for that leg. So this is good. So let's head over to the bandsaw and cut a few wedges. Okay, so you saw me make the first bow tie insert here. And I just wanted to get one done here because this top has a few other, like right in the middle here, it hasn't split all the way through, but it looks like it's a dry split on the bottom here. That would like to come right through. So I just wanted to get one done before we went ahead and started pounding on the rest of this top. But I don't want to put as many as I've marked out here. We really do want to leave, even though this only goes in half of the depth of this piece, about up to there, I want to leave some expansion and contraction movement. So I really can't put all of these bow ties in, but I do have to put another couple. So what I think I'll do is stagger this one here and then put another large one here because there's quite a few breaks right here, and either a large one back here or a smaller one, but nothing here, 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 and here. So maybe this 1, 2, 3, 4 is good enough, kind of supports all those joints. Yeah, I think that should be good. Mostly worried about, you know, the susceptibility on these lines. So if we do this one and this one, that should catch it. Okay, so we've got this looking pretty good. Nice bright white pine bow tie joints. So now we can start thinking about putting it back together first before we deal with the top. A bit of glue cleanup with some of the epoxy. That's a nail. But I think everything's looking pretty good. Just put a spade bit through some of these bigger ones, just to chip off little pieces of glue in there. These are always hard not to make a mess with. I just like using my fingers so I can get it around the whole edge of the joint, as well as the dowel. Okay. Just keep a rag around. I think mine's on the floor here. Crusty glue rag. Okay. So these have an angle, obviously, the way they sit. So this is going to flare out this way. And that wedge needs to go horizontal. Perpendicular to the grain of the seat, so it doesn't split the seat. I'll show you what I mean when I turn it around. Okay, so this is what I mean by perpendicular. So this wedge is going to go perpendicular to the grain pattern. So we're squishing the grain this way, not breaking it apart this way. So I'm going to take some wedges that we've made, and I made them all a little shorter so we could really get the width of the wedge in here to spread it apart. They had these nailed so they were not sitting all the way down on the leg. Obviously things shrink and stuff, but I've got them seated all the way in now. And I don't put any glue in these joints, just the wedge tenon. You're welcome, next person. Okay, so I'm just trying to pick widths that will expand this enough to get it tight in that groove. I cut a couple of different sizes because there were some different size wedges. As long as I'm getting some glue squeeze out here, that's good. I'm happy with that. This one looks like we need a really fat one. Just judging by how much space there is around this dowel, and this is, you know, where we did a lot of repairs back here. So I think I'm going to use this guy. It's pretty fat. I'll just cut a little bit down. Good. And then this one's a little skinnier. I'll use this one. Okay, super. So we're going to flush cut these and sand this top of the seat. Alrighty, so I've got this sanded up to 220, and there's definitely some areas that need some putty. But before I do that, because this is a soft wood, I'm going to put a coat of lacquer on it. And that's just going to, one, tell me what everything's looking like. Do I need to tint, which is easier without the back on. And two, it's going to seal up the wood around where I need to putty and help that putty just go where it needs to. So let's throw some lacquer on this and see how it looks. Okay, so I've done the fills and sanded those. I'm kind of giving the chair a light sand all over the place. So these guys here, I'm going to give a touch up this very dark epoxy line here, and obviously this piece back here as well. So I'm just going to use some blend all sticks to get me there. And I'm going to wet this with some Varsol first, some paint thinner. Then I'll know which color to choose here. It's looking pretty good. doesn't really need a whole lot of tinting other than these areas. It'll yellow as it ages as well, so it'll get a little bit more yellow with some time. So we'll let time do the color work other than these spots. So this part here really stands out. I'm just gonna take a piece, a crayon, and kind of lighten that up first. I'm choosing a little bit of a lighter color because when the lacquer goes on, it'll show through, the background color will show through a little bit, so don't want to go, and it's quite dark, so. How's everybody's Christmas going so far? Hope you're all having a good season out there. It's a weird year, huh? It was a weird year for me. I've heard a lot of people say the same, that it has kind of been a weird year. So tell me, how do you feel about that? Anyways, I'm going to use this color here to start to get a little bit of that red pigment that's in the swirl. We're not trying to hide that there's a wedge in here, so we don't have to worry about graining. Just trying to make it a little bit less stick out a little less. Can't talk today, sorry. And then we'll go in with the, I think True Brown should work pretty good, and blend that color in over top. So I'll get all these looking good, and then the bottom, I'm gonna leave these bow ties because I think they're pretty. So that's what our bottom's looking like right now. We've got very big, bright yellow pine tenons showing and showcasing the repair here is not a problem. So we're gonna leave those. I'll seal that up again. And so that both sides of this are sealed up. And yeah, we'll be pretty much done. I didn't do a whole lot of teaching in this video. I'm pretty busy with Christmas, and I'm sure you guys are too, so you'll understand. But I just wanted to stop in and give you a little video for the weekend because we didn't see it last week. So I hope you enjoy this one. We'll finish it up and show you the finished product. Alrighty, there it is, all finished up, looking really cute. We did do some tinting on the seat just to blend some things in, but they're still looking natural. I like the shape of this little back. Didn't really show you the rest of the chair, but it's a nice little carve out for your back, kind of comfortable. So we did 2 coats of the pre-catalyzed lacquer, and I did a little bit of light walnut Mohawk toner on the seat. Most of our work was underneath here, where we put in the bow ties. So it's gonna be nice and strong now, and it's gonna support the legs, which put a lot of pressure on that seat. So that's gonna work. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I like primitive furniture. I'm not sure if I've told you this before, but I like it when something's just kind of carved out of nature and not really modified too much. Like this is just a log. It's really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, you can support this channel by buying me a coffee. The link is in the description below this video. And as always, thanks so much for being here, guys. And I do have a little update on the shop. So let me show you. Okay, so nothing really happened inside the shop, but if you take a look down the driveway, here comes Shop Dog. Hi, Nessa.
Good girl. If you take a look right here, we have got markings for power. So you can see down, there's another stick down there. We've got locates set. And so I've been told by the locates guy that once he puts these flags down, they show up next week. So they're gonna come from the road here. They're gonna actually replace this whole pole up here and the transformer. And they're gonna put a new 200 amp service. Well, 400 because we need 200 for the house. So new pole, new transformer, and come all the way through across the drive or in front of the garage and to the shop. So we might have power next week, guys. So gonna be exciting. You know, I haven't really had a lot of time just to think about what I'm gonna set that shop up like, but I think I like this design I had in the last shop. So yeah, stay tuned. More exciting things to come. Have a wonderful day, guys. Cheers.